from the youth group mission trip. So I want you to see this. It's a couple of minutes long and gives you at least a little bit of a sense of what happened over the last week with our young people. If you didn't know, all the ones dressed in orange today, they're in this picture here. These are the young people that we're highlighting today. So there's a couple of minutes here. I invite you to join me in our prayer preparation. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. This morning, Christine is actually going to come forward and she's going to share with us a little bit about the trip, and I believe she's going to have some of the young people share their thoughts and their experiences as well. So I give the floor to Christine and to our youth group so that you can hear about their mission trip.
You know what?
It's on there.
It's on now? You can hear me? All right. I'm sorry. I know Brian likes to go up there. I'm more comfortable down here. So can everybody see me? Can y'all hear me? So I'm just going to take like 30 seconds because this is more about these guys. And actually, Ashley, where are you? Ashley Shane is right there. I didn't see you. I'm sorry. I was like, wait, we're missing some. Or actually, there's 3 kids who are not here. This was really more about them than me coming before you saying, yeah, this is a great trip, even though I broke something. It's about them and what God did through them. Yeah, I'll be honest, I was hesitant. I haven't done this in a while. I'm older. I didn't like the thought of sleeping in what they told me was such a creepy cabin and the bugs and the heat and everything I heard went, no, Christine, run the other way. But I didn't, and we packed up, and my darling husband, who's still sitting because he's humble and shy and doesn't want to stand up, but sticks out because he's wearing orange. We packed up the car, and, it was such an amazing experience. Not only getting to know these kids and grow with them, but to watch God work through them and watch them grow in relationship with each other and with Christ. Each night we went out, we went out to Hamburg, PA, and Pottsville, PA. If you ever get a chance, you might not want to visit those areas, but if you want, you could. Each night we went to what was called the Journey Cafe, and it's a ministry run by one of the churches out there for the youth. So they graciously closed their doors for the week and opened them up to us so we could have worship there every night. So Sunday night, our group is there, and you've got kids who worship like this. By Friday night, the kids who were standing there like this were now standing there like this. Hands up, bopping around. As you saw, they were trying to move around here. They were worshiping. God was stirring in their hearts. I know I may have brought some of them back completely different than the way they came. They're no longer shy and timid. God worked in their heart. So I don't want to talk anymore because this was their experience. Sam.
I'm going first.
You're going first, baby.
Okay. Well, when people ask me why I went, originally when they were asking around, I was like, well, it was this or prison, just because, the bright orange. But it's really because of the people you connect with. Not only you connect with your faith, but there's these amazing people who go there with you, and they stay there for you, for your life. And they share this experience with you, and you just grow with everyone there, and you're helping other people while helping yourself grow with your faith in Christ. So it was a lot of fun.
I liked it because it was definitely different than going on a school trip or something like that, because all these people were here to be with Christ with you. Like at school, if you say something about God or you say something about going to church, they laugh at you, because most kids don't go these days. But with them, you could sit there and you could pray with them and you could really talk about your religion, and they didn't laugh at you, and they really understood, and that would really stood out for me.
Why I went is because I love the people there. Daryl, the person who brings us all together, he's so nice, and everyone from all the other churches you make friends with and have great relationships with.
So when I went to June Project, it was an awesome experience. My goal there was to act as much like Alex Carson as possible. If you don't know who Alex Carson is, then shame on you, because he's literally, if I had to describe anyone to be modern day Jesus Christ, it would be Alex Carson, because he has the biggest heart. He will give you anything you need, and it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, he's there for you. He bought some he will give you Skittles, and we were at the pool one night, and he just bought some random woman there who was down on her luck that day a whole meal for her just because she was there. He's just so sweet. So my goal of the week was to be just like him, and I did it. Lauren and I both did it, actually. We got this award called the Marquise Reese Award, which is I don't know who he is. Sam does. Apparently he's awesome. They changed the name of it this year. It used to be the Tim Bach Award, in which Alex actually won last year. So, and Sam, but so I think we were successful. I was successful in that, and I really enjoyed myself. And Matt Harada.
No.
So, my favorite part of the June Project was my way of connecting with people, talking, and just hanging out with them. And also we got to tear down a house, which was pretty cool. So yeah, it was really fun actually. Much more than, it was so much better than last year.
My favorite part about June Project was...
No, I'm not.
My favorite part of the June Project was working in the soup kitchen at the Salvation Army, because I got to help people who are less fortunate than us, and he got to meet with them. That was pretty nice.
I'll tell you one thing, what Matt was saying. If any of these kids ever say they're tired or don't have energy to do things, it's probably because they're bored. Because let me tell you, they had so much energy in knocking down that house. It was unbelievable. I'm not so good at coming up with things to say, so I went on the internet to look up stuff, and one of the things I came across was the dangers of mission trips. And it was really good. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit what I read. So one of the dangers is seeing everyone's brokenness but missing your own. So as you serve, you will be, this was actually something I probably should have said to them before they went on the trip, but as you serve, you will see brokenness, places where people are hurting because of the reality of sin in the world. But if you enter into a relationship only seeing their brokenness, you will be in danger of replacing love with judgment. So acknowledge your own brokenness. Sin is a part of all our stories. None of us can fix that brokenness on our own. That is why we need a Savior to save us, all of us. And another one they said, another danger is overlooking the beauty of others. So what if I asked you, what are you most ashamed of? Or what are you really bad at? Or who have you hurt lately? Chances are we all have answers for these questions. You sometimes experience shame. We're all really bad at something, and you probably hurt someone's feelings recently, not really knowing it. But that's not your whole story. These are things there are also things you are incredibly good at. The same is true for the people we meet on the mission trip. The danger is stepping into relationships with eyes watching for brokenness, but completely missing the beauty in people's lives. Instead, we should be watchful for the beautiful gifts and abilities God has given each person. Focus on this in both your interactions and the stories you tell after. You will be amazed at what you see when you look for beauty first. And another one is, after serving his disciples, Jesus told them, I have given you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Jesus wasn't suggesting once in a while service. He was telling them about how to live their lives. The danger of mission trips is that they become your island of service where you vacation once a year. Instead, mission trips are meant to be a catalyst that will propel you forward. Your mission trip is not a grand finale to a year of going to church, but a beautiful beginning to deepen service and love for others. So I know especially Sam, when you go to college, they still do have you try and do missions or service work there. Jesus tells disciples to give without expecting anything in return, even the approval of others. So should we not tell anyone about our mission trip? No, we should share our story. The danger is that you will share the wrong story. A story about what you did instead of a story about what God did in and through you. So make yourself merely a character in a far grander story of what God is doing in the world. And I don't know, am I talking too much? Because I have more. So then there was another site that was for Youth Works mission trips, and that talked about what is so great about mission trips. And number one was bringing youth together like glue, and it really does. They spend so much time that it just makes their bond so much stronger. And two, it broadens their perspective. See what it's like to live below the poverty line in small town America. By beginning to understand another setting, their own context comes into truer focus. And three, challenge comfort zones. Trips demand that teenagers participate. Examples of ways comfort zones are crossed on this trip was wrecking a house, painting. Some kids painted the summer camp we stayed at. Others were serving meals to the poor at the Salvation Army. and sleeping in less than ideal accommodations. You all did very well with that. Experiencing a new culture. But when coupled with intentional processing and worship, mission trips have the unique ability to challenge students' comfortable perceptions of God and the world. Faith steps beyond the doors of the church and demands to be applied to real-world living. And mission trips empower you. God is doing incredible work through church. The energy, authenticity, fresh perspective, and passions teenagers bring to is a vibrant part of the church. Mission trips help students take ownership and initiative. Eyes are open, passions are ignited, possibilities are exposed, pursuits begin. Mission trips help teenagers see what they are capable of. But first, the church chooses to believe in the incredible opportunity of being a teenager, a boiling potential just waiting to overflow. And one thing that was great, last year we weren't allowed to go, you had to be 18 or older to go do the construction, and there weren't enough kids, so they let the younger ones, and they all handled it excellent. They were all so excited to do the work, and they did a great job. And lastly, I'll just say, mission trips create sacred space. Mission trips represent a time and a place when God worked in and through our lives. These sacred spaces anchor students in their faith and propel them forward in their relationships with God. The mission trip signifies God's faithfulness in our lives. So mission trips help students learn to love serving others. So it is my hope that what our youth experienced in Pennsylvania this past week doesn't stop once they unpack their bags. That's it.
We were called this week to be angels, like our shirt says. Angels. In our prison-colored orange. And we really, some of us, we just look like prison people. But unfortunately, we didn't get to see, there were a huge group of us that went and worked at the Salvation Army. And of course, some of us took it as this is the cushy job, we're in air conditioning, they feed us a nice lunch, and it was great, and we just had to paint things. But then Friday came. And we had to step out of our comfort zone, as Thomas said. And we fed people who have so much less than we do. And Shaylee turned around, and Charisse, the other leader, not Shaylee, said that we needed to sit, not as a group, but with someone else who came into the soup kitchen and have conversation with them. And that is where I saw Thomas and Colby and Emma. We all came out of our shells. And Myron went to 2 different tables. Him and Alex found the same person he went and talked with last year. But that's where God worked in their hearts and helped them work into the hearts of other people. And it was truly amazing because you don't know these people. And at 13, 14, 15, 38, that's uncomfortable to sit and talk to a stranger. To sit and talk and listen to someone who went from being $1 million real estate agent to now being homeless. To listen to a couple who this was their first time having to go to the soup kitchen, and they kind of felt ashamed. And at 13, 14, 17, 18, 38, we're there to encourage them. We're there to shine God's light, and that totally happened. Not only at our Salvation Army site, but from what I hear from my husband, who was on the demo site all week. It worked all week there too. So this really was God shining through us and God shining into us. And it was an amazing, amazing trip.
Yeah, I'd like to share one more thing from someone who couldn't be with us today, Josie Carson. She was there at the beginning of the trip, but isn't available today. She sent this to us. She said, "I'm truly blessed to have been able to join our youth group and the other 85 kids that were at the June Project. Over the years, I've offered to drive, attend 1.5 days last year. It was a leap for me to volunteer 3 days this time. I was thinking, there's such a need to have a chaperone. I'll just bite the bullet and bear and grin the shenanigans of the 80-plus unruly kids, carb-loaded camp meals, cold showers, and sleepless nights. Part of me was dreading the ordeal. Things we hope our children will achieve, a few of them: growth in their personal walk with God, fellowship with others, confidence, self-esteem in a challenging environment, teamwork and problem solving, sharing our blessings to an underserved community, and to not take what we have for granted. To be brief, all the things I wished for them, I myself received in multiple folds. It is inexplicable how God works within us. All the things I dreaded were no longer an issue. They seemed silly, really. Since returning, I feel more grounded, calmer, better able to deal with daily family and work challenges, knowing and allowing God to be in control. And this is a lyric that spoke to her from one of the songs we sang. I lean not on my own understanding. My life is in the hands of the maker of heaven. I give it all to you, God. My life, trusting that you'll make something beautiful out of me. The dates for June Project in 2017 are July 30th to August 5th. I put it in my calendar. I pray that God paves the way for me to attend for the entire week. I want to thank the congregation for financially supporting the youth group in this endeavor, but I implore other adults to participate, not just for the youths, but for ourselves. Amen? Amen. Let me share just one last thing. I was on this trip for a good portion of it, and I think this is worth highlighting. At the demolition site, I think our whole group paid maybe $4,000 to go on this trip. The value of the work that they did at that demolition site was valued at $30,000. So your gifts and contributions for our young people to go on this trip were multiplied many times over in just that one site. And they went to a whole bunch of different sites. The value of the work that they have done on this trip is, you can't measure it. It is unmeasurable. The eternal value of the work that these young people have done is incredible. Can we give praise to God for the work of our young people? We're going to take a moment to prepare our hearts for Holy Communion, and I invite you to open up to the Our Songs, page 2. As you can tell, our service is going to go a little bit longer today, but that's all right. We're praising God for the work of our young people, so I think it's worth it to hear their stories and to hear what the work that they've done in Pennsylvania. But now let's prepare ourselves for communion.